One of the things I really wanted to talk about was Sleeping Dogs since I completed the game and I want to talk about it. I kind of am disappointed in it in a way, considering that my experience with the game was incredible up until the point of the completion of the main story, and that sort of devolved into a lot of bow, I guess, because when you really take everything apart from the main story, it has no substance to it. And at the time, it was sort of seen as a GTA clone because of the open world aspects, and then the triads, and then the combat system, and like the guns and everything. So I can understand how they were trying to do something to hold up to GTA, but one thing that they didn't do right was the fact that GTA actually has some stuff to do in the open world regarding entertainment, and I want to sort of segment every single thing in this video as best I can, regarding the combat system, regarding the mainline story, regarding overall what do we say, gameplay material, stuff like that, the main story, the combat, some of the characters, some side missions, and some bonus content that I want to talk about as well. So one of the things I wanted to talk about right now was the combat of the game. And when regarding the combat of the game, I personally love it. And I'm not saying I love it because I needed to give it something to work with, in regards of everything else. Because the combat is the main aspect of the game that is it's the main focus of everything. So I feel like it would be good to start with that. I appreciate the combat. I appreciate what they were trying to do with the different styles, with the costumes, with Muay Thai, the MMA, the Wing Chun, that sort of stuff. But I also think it's a bit tedious to have all of those different movesets to be limited to certain costumes, because at any point in the story you could, if they really wanted to make the gameplay experience a little better, they could have given you the opportunity to use alternative finishers to the ones that you have in your default, so that anytime you want to do maybe a different finisher, maybe you want to do the drunken fist style, or maybe you want to do the Muay Thai kicks and stuff like that. It would have been a lot better if they had done it that way. Have an alternative key, because the space bar is an alternative for melee action when you're with the firearm, and when you grab someone and press the space bar, I'm talking from a PC angle. When you grab someone and press the space bar, you do a shoulder tackle, not a shoulder tackle, like a hip thrust, like a hip throw. And I didn't discover that until recently when playing the game, and that's not I don't think that's in any of the tutorials, because I don't even remember seeing it in anything. And if they could have added that to that part of the gameplay, where you could have alternative finishers, alternative counters, alternative with the face meter, that would have been great. But I think for the combat, I don't have really much to say, because in general the combat is really good in the game and it feels flawless. So I have nothing more to say about that, and we can move on to the next segment, which is the gameplay. Now when we talk about the gameplay, oh boy, they did miss a lot. They had so many missed opportunities when it comes to the gameplay of this game. First of all, there are no triad exclusive missions throughout the entire game, which is extremely weird, considering you spend a majority of the game actually doing triad missions, and you establish a relationship within your own clan, sort of, and you don't get to have any more bonding experience with them apart from maybe few side missions here and there. which are like completely random. And that's also not to mention the fact that when you are, you know, out in the open world, you get so many cop missions, and I feel like it's unfairly balanced between the two. Considering like the cop missions are fun and all, but it's also like repeated missions of the same thing over and over again, and I don't think it leads to very much in the long term. But because as I'm recording this, I have not completed all of the cop missions because I've finished the game quite recently. But I will say maybe my outlook on this thing will change. But yeah, when it comes to gameplay, the triad missions are a must in my opinion. You have to have like a bunch of triad missions. And when it comes to like, I mean, with the clan itself, like you have like so many different like you have so many different romance options also in the game, and those are like one-offs. You don't even get to like invite them or call them again to hang out again. Even for like even for like karaoke or anything, you don't really get to do that. You don't get to bond with any of your teammates within like the triads. You don't get any of that apart from like what you see in the main story. And I feel like you could have had a lot more mini games in the game, maybe even a bigger map. And that's basically it for like the gameplay aspect of everything, because I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the gameplay, except it's just, I feel like it's just lacking a lot, and that's my main issue with it. I feel like it's lacking a hell of a lot in that aspect. Now, when it regards to the open world, I think it is an okay size. It is pretty balanced out considering the amount of stuff that happens continuously throughout the story. And I feel like the world itself is pretty spacious. And when talking about the main story, my only problem with it, because I love the main story, and I feel like the story is its best strong suit of the game, and not really it's like open world after you finish the main game sort of it's not a after you finish the main game sort of thing. I feel like this game is sort of like you play it, you finish the campaign, and then you like close it, and like if you want to, like if you're bored and you want to play something again, you like open this game and you start playing, screwing around on the map. But yeah, this feels like the game is a great game for its time, and I think it stood the test of time quite well. But all in all, I don't really see very much in terms of campaign. Right, I feel my only problem with the campaign is the fact I feel it's too short. It's like a very short campaign in my opinion, and I feel like it could have been a little bit longer, maybe like 2 or 3 hours longer than what it originally is, because I feel like there's a lot more content you could have added in with regards to like maybe the triads and like Way's backstory and how he became a cop, that sort of stuff, and maybe even a few side missions that will go along with that. And the DLC's sort of disappointing, apart from the Zodiac one, the Zodiac Trials, the Zodiac Tournament DLC, I feel is like the best one of all of them. I think that's like I feel like that's like about it in comparison to everything I've spoken about. The combat is okay. I mean, could be better. The gameplay overall, when I'm talking about gameplay, I'm saying after the main campaign, pretty bland. And DLC also is pretty bland. But I do still love the game despite all of that. And if I was to give it a rating, 6 out of 10. And that's basically all.